Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow. You know what? According to according to the leaders in Iran, we were supposed to see something extremely dramatic happen by now. They said last night. Well, it's daytime now, or actually it's nighttime there, but it was nighttime, daytime for them when they were saying it, and it was nighttime for us. But now it's like a day's gone by and they come back around and says, you keep at it. If America gets involved, you're going to see something that you don't want to see. I mean, it's like almost a whole bunch of talk, right? I mean, a whole bunch of talk. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to talk a lot about this, but one of the main things I want to talk about is MAGA. These fake MAGA people, they call themselves MAGA. And you know what? I think it's kind of the same thing what they were doing during the election when these people were calling themselves MAGA, and all along they were nothing but radical leftists trying to convince everybody that they were MAGA and that they were not supporting President Trump because I just can't support this man for XYZ. And it's not even just the same people, but it's different people this time. These are people that said that they were all for President Trump. And now all of a sudden, because President Trump is not turning his back on an ally, not turning his back on the ally. And because he's not turning his back, these people that call themselves MAGA, and trust me, they're not MAGA at all. They're not MAGA at all. But they're calling themselves MAGA, and they get on social media and they're telling everybody that they're MAGA because they're upset because President Trump is not turning his back on an ally. Y'all know who I'm talking about? And I've seen a whole bunch of people. I've seen posts. Now, we talked about this maybe a month ago. You have Candace Owens. And Candace Owens, she used to be MAGA, but she's no longer MAGA. And see, the whole thing, make America great again, meaning that you are America first. Now, you can be America first and still support our allies. And this is exactly what President Trump is doing. At what point did it become that we cannot support our allies because they don't like a certain group of people? And let me bring something clear. And I'm talking about Israel. I'm 100% talking about Israel. And let me bring something to everybody's attention because a lot of people, they're still not getting this. The Democrat Party, they created Jim Crow. The Democrat Party created segregation. The Democrat Party created slavery. It is the party of slavery in this country. The Democrat Party created the KKK. The Democrat Party is the party of white supremacy. Now, the Democrat Party, when slavery was here, and right when black people first started voting, how many black people were in the Democrat Party? How many? Zero. Not a single black person was in the Democrat Party. When the Republican Party was created, there was black people in the Senate. There were senators. Some of the first senators of the Republican Party were black people. And the Republican Party basically was created so that black people could have representation. The Democrat Party hated the Republican Party for allowing black people to have a voice. Just like today, the same Democrat Party, they hate it when black people have a voice. They don't want black people to have a voice unless it's black people trying to keep other black people on the plantation. That's the only reason why they allow black people to have any kind of voice right now. Because other than that, as a black person, you would not have a voice as a black person in this country. And when they find out that you're conservative and you support President Trump, all over the platform, you don't even have to be black in this case. The Democrats will go out the way to censor anybody, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. They will go out their way to silence anybody that speaks out against their insanity. And they know it, and they don't even care. Now, this whole thing that we're seeing with MAGA, right? We're seeing this whole thing with MAGA. And what a lot of people don't realize is that this is truly a spiritual battle. A lot of people don't even realize it. Some people don't even care. Let me explain something. And let me make this crystal clear as much as possible. Because too many so-called MAGA patriots, they really need a wake-up call. There's a lot of them out there right now. They're screaming, "Oh, I can't support President Trump." And they're going and they're also kicking and screaming, saying that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that Republicans lose come the midterm because they're upset with President Trump not turning his back on an ally. And if you turn your back on Israel, you're not just betraying Trump, the United States of America, you are also betraying God himself. Really? You don't think so? Let me explain this to you. Genesis 12:3. It says, bless those. It says, God says, I will bless those that bless Israel, and I will curse those that curse Israel. This is God's word. And now some of these people try to act like they're Christians. They want people to believe that they're Christians, and they call themselves MAGA, and they're not. You know, another thing, and I'm not saying this about everybody, but one thing that I've noticed is that majority of the people that I've come in contact with that refuse to acknowledge this about the Bible and what it says about Israel. Just on a side note here, a lot of these people are flat earthers, and I don't know what that is all about, but a lot of them are flat earthers. You can't make it up, right? So when God says in the Bible that he will bless those that bless Israel, and he will curse those that curse Israel, that's not a political opinion. That's a covenant from God, and it's in God's word. We are seeing some in the MAGA crowd, right? And they call themselves MAGA. All they're doing is it's probably the same Never Trumpers. Remember in 2016 with Ted Cruz, the Never Trumpers. That's where the Never Trumpers came from Ted Cruz. People who once called and shouted, America first, America first. And now they're the ones, they're all saying, look, we are America first because we're not supporting Israel. Again, you can be America first and still support our ally. I'm having a hard time understanding why you don't understand that. And I know probably some people right now watching say, I don't like what Will Johnson's saying. I don't like what Will Johnson's saying. And why should we stop supporting our Israel or our ally, which is Israel? Why should we do that? And to get what I was saying earlier about the Democrat Party, when I talked about how the Democrat Party created slavery, the Democrat Party consisted of all white people. It consists of 100% of white people. When the Democrat KKK party was created, the KKK, they were all white people, and they look what they did to black people, and they even did it to white people during that time. My point in bringing that up, if I held it against every single white person because of what the racist Democrat Party did to black people back in the past, what would that make me? And see, that's what's essentially happening here. These people that call themselves or used to call themselves MAGA, these people saying they're America first, they're blaming an entire group of people as if I should be blaming all white people for what the Democrat Party did to black people. I can't do that. And the very fact that some of these people are doing that says that they're not even thinking it through. They're not even paying attention. And now these same people, they're throwing Israel under the bus, saying that we shouldn't stand with God's people. Now, of course, in Israel, for many of you, if you've ever been to Israel, or if you ever looked at what's happening in Israel, a majority of the people, and I'm going to be clear about this, majority of the people, and I learned this a few years ago, majority of the people in Israel are atheists. And they do a whole bunch of wicked things, just like in the Bible when Noah took him out of Israel or took him out of Egypt and went to the promised land. They were doing wicked things. It happens. These are people we're still talking about. They're not perfect. No one is perfect. So I recommend that people be careful. Revelation 12:14 says the woman, which is Israel, was given the wings of a great eagle. Who do you think the eagle is? Now, when the Bible was written, they talk about the bear, they talk about the leopard, they talk about the lion, they talk about the eagle. These are nations the Bible was talking about. The eagle is us, America. And our role in prophecy is clear as day. Some people don't even want to acknowledge it. Some people say, well, America's not even in the Bible. But they completely overlook where it talks about the bird with eagle's wings coming to the aid of Israel. So now you have a lot of people turning against Israel. And it isn't just because, they dislike a group of people, because they think Israel shouldn't even exist. It's bad foreign policy because Israel is our ally. I don't know why this is so difficult. It's spiritual treason, what it really comes down to. Psalms 122:6 says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Where's Jerusalem located? It doesn't say only pray for them, for political reasons or political convenience. Pray for them. And you're not supposed to just reject them just because you don't like them. If you're a Christian, you should know the difference. It doesn't say only agree with them if the media tells you to, or if the media tell you not to. I see so many people online. And I tell you right now, I got people that I've talked to for many years. And all of a sudden, because of what's happening in Israel, all these people have completely changed the script. And I didn't know that there was so much hatred for Israel from people that call themselves on the right. And for me, I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, why would they support hating a group of people when the squad hates them, when the radical left hates them? So are they actually leftists themselves? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I know you see it. They're actually siding with Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC. They're siding with them. They're siding with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer put out a statement and he's just hates Israel and he's Jewish. So I'm really confused on that. How is it that these people call themselves Christians, saying that they're fighting for righteousness, and then they turn around and they side with the radical squad? Make it make sense. You can't say that you love Jesus and then turn around and say that you hate God's people. I mean, how does that even come out? But yet it's happening. And yes, God does love Israel. I believe what the word says. Don't be up. I mean, if you're upset with me, you're upset with the word, because the word says it. I believe in what God's word says. Either you stand with the covenant or you stand in the way of it. And I'm telling you right now, God will deal with that. This isn't about a left or a right thing. It's about right or wrong. Bible prophecy is unfolding right now before our very eyes. And you're going to have to pick one side or the other. You're going to have to pick one side or the other. One side or the other. You pick the side of truth, or you're going to pick the side of judgment. In some cases, people say choose wisely. Choose wisely. Let me give you an example of someone who's actually not MAGA any longer. And they've actually turned their back basically on President Trump. They've actually turned their back on President Trump. President Trump is calling Tucker Carlson kooky. And he brings on Ted Cruz. And he does Ted Cruz in like the gotcha game. And I don't understand what happened to Tucker. Same thing. I don't understand what happened. Now, I think I have a suspicion on why Tucker is changed. And it has a lot to do with money, who's funding him. Rumors has it that these Muslim groups that has been funded from Iran through other organizations, they're funding Tucker. And Tucker's not going to talk down to the money. This is some of the rumors that are going out, allegedly. And one of the backers of Tucker's out of Qatar. I don't know, but this is just information that's just floating around. Maybe, just maybe, that's his reasoning for doing it. For Candace Owens, I think it's because of Daily Wire and Prager University. She was upset when she left there. I don't know. But listen to Tucker Carlson while he's talking to Ted Cruz. And he basically says Ted Cruz said that we are attacking Iran, and Ted Cruz never says that. Tucker Carlson is better than this. I don't know what happened. Listen.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
what
predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Now, listen to this. See, now, Tucker Carlson knows exactly what Ted Cruz is talking about. Tucker Carlson is not a stupid man. He's taking this as the opportunity to take it that Senator Ted Cruz, being a member in Congress, just said that the United States of America is attacking Iran. Tucker Carlson knows better. Tucker Carlson knows 100% better than what he's doing right here. This is the same thing that the radical left would do. What he's doing right now to Ted Cruz. He knows better. But yet he's doing it. He's doing it. He's manipulating the whole situation here. And Ted Cruz, he should ask Tucker Carlson, I wish he would have asked Tucker Carlson about his funding from this Muslim organization out of Qatar. He should ask him about that. And then he's telling him, and he's trying to get him on these numbers, like how many people in Iran? That's not important. One person in Iran dying is too many. Did you hear what I said? One person in Iran dying is too many. One person in Israel dying is too many. He's going off of semantics. See, a lot of times they do this, and I've noticed about this about a lot of liberals. They want to get on a lot of these statistics. They want to get on, the count on everything, and then try to make it look like they know what they're talking about because they know the numbers. That's irrelevant. It is 100% irrelevant. What's happening here, no one wants to happen. But Iran has made it clear that as soon as they get the opportunity to where they can have a nuclear weapon, they've said it repeatedly. This is not something that they're making up. And then, let me play the rest of this, and I'm going to tell you something about this nuclear program that Iran has or doesn't have, according to some people.
You're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
You see that? Did you see how he did that? Ted Cruz never said the United States of America is at war. I'm not sure what's going on with our screen here. He's never said that. Ted Cruz didn't say the United States of America is at war. Now, to be clear about something, the United States of America is an ally to Israel. And there's so many things with this. Let me lay this out really quick if I can. Talking about the nuclear program. Iran is saying that they've been working on a nuclear program. They've even reported, even on the liberal media outlets, they've even reported saying that, yes, Iran has put it out there that they are working on getting a nuclear weapon. They're not being secret about it. And they also said that they're not going to stop. They've been working on it for many, many years. I remember when I was a kid seeing it, and they were all talking about it then. And they said that they were really close. They're even closer. What a lot of people are leaving out too, not too long ago, and this was even reported on the liberal media news, along with conservative media outlets, that in Iran, out in the desert, in the middle of nowhere, there was an earthquake that took place. A major earthquake took place. Well, after they looked at the satellite images, come to find out, it looks like that they set off a bomb on the ground. And it was a very, very big area. Very, very large. So it's telling them that they were testing something. They're testing something. There's never been earthquakes in that area before. They're testing something. And President Trump, he has the intel. Are you going to trust Tucker Carlson over President Trump? Are you going to trust MSDNC, the Communist News Network, all of these liberal media outlets? Are you going to trust them over President Trump? I'm going with President Trump. President Trump has the detail. He has the intel. President Trump knows what's going on. And then who is it? It's Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard apparently about a month ago or so, and I didn't even see it. This has been reports. Tulsi Gabbard came out like a month or so ago. Maybe Shannon, you saw something on it. But a month or so ago, Tulsi Gabbard supposedly came out and said that Iran is not close to having a nuclear weapon. When Israel was saying that they're possibly even just weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. President Trump heard that Tulsi Gabbard said this, and President Trump says, I don't care what she says. I have the intel. And then it brings me to another point here. You have a whole bunch of people saying that President Trump, Congress is controlled by Israel. Have y'all heard that statement before? Have some of you made that statement before? They're controlled by Israel. So the United States of America is going to get pulled into this war because Israel wants us in the war. Here's something that they constantly leave out. And I don't know why they leave this little tidbit of information. It's just a little information here. And for some reason, they leave it out. It kind of reminds me how when right now the radical left is saying that President Trump is deporting children, American citizens that are children. And they leave out this little key detail that the parents who happen to be illegal of the child wants the child to go with them. They leave out that little key detail. It's the same thing happening here with Israel. Israel attacking Iran. They're leaving out a key detail. And the key detail, they know what the key detail is. And what that is that before Israel attacked Iran, they had to get approval from President Trump. They have to get approval from the United States of America. Did you know that? So how is it that Israel is controlling the United States of America if they have to get approval from us. And the only reason why they have to get approval from us is because they are our ally. And they're getting ready to cause some trouble, conflict. They're not going to start the conflict, but they're getting ready to add to the conflict. Iran started this conflict a long time ago, which is another key detail. For some reason, they leave out. I don't know why they're leaving it out. Oh. So let me ask you a question. Y'all let me know in the chat. Is Iran innocent? Did Iran not have anything to do with the Houthis? Did Iran have nothing to do with Hezbollah? Did Iran have nothing to do with all the rockets going into Israel trying to destroy them? Proxy wars? Is Iran innocent? This is the same Iran that people are supporting, that Obama sent money to Iran on pallets in the dead of night. So are you siding with Obama on this? Now, look, I'm not siding. I don't want war. And as I said just a second ago, for some people that didn't hear it, one person dying in Iran is too many. Just one is too many. Same thing in Israel, too many. But can we talk about reality here? I mean, really? Is Iran innocent? And soon as the conflict escalated to where it is now, instead of them saying Iran constantly doing this, and after a while, enough is enough. You know what it is? Iran is a bully. Iran is a bully. Israel would leave them alone if they were left alone, when trying to create a nuke to destroy them. Israel would just leave them alone. 100%. I remember when I was a kid and I used to get on a school bus, and every single day at one point, there was this kid. He would bully me. He was taller than me. And I was a little kid, maybe like the 8th grade or so. I can't even remember exactly. But I do remember him bullying me every single day. I would get on a bus and he would hit me in my leg. He would hit me in my arm. He would hit me in my chest. He would hit me in my side every single morning. Every single morning he would get on there and he would hit me. Even after school, because we lived in a neighborhood, after school, we get on the bus. I would try to get on the bus before him, or it didn't even matter if I got on before him or after him. When he got on the bus, he would find me and he would hit me. Every day. This went on for maybe 3 weeks, a month. And the bus driver, watching it all unfold. Bus driver watching him hit me, constantly hit me, not saying anything. And then this bully that was constantly hitting me, right? Same thing here. Like he's Iran and I'm trying not to do anything. He's constantly hitting me. Now he's trying to get his friend to join in and bullying me. And I would never forget it. I said, man, I'm going to have to do something, because if his friend get involved, then I'm going to have to deal with both of them constantly bullying me. And I didn't like it. So one day I built up the nerve, walked on the bus. And of course he hit me in the leg, but this time I hit him in the eye hard as I could. I hit him in the eye. And of course he was bigger than me. I mean, a lot bigger than me. I hit him in the eye and I ran to the back of the bus, getting ready to get beat up. And that's when the bus driver finally stepped in. And the bus driver made both of us sit together after that. He made both of us sit right behind him in the chairs together. And I'll never forget this. After hitting him in the eye, the bus driver told him that he deserved it. He said, you've been messing with him all this time and he didn't do anything back. And then when he hit you back, then you want to fight him. He said, you're going to sit right here and do nothing. And the entire time while I'm sitting there, I'm looking at him and he's shaking. He's scared. And I knew right then that I had no reason to be scared of this dude. Even though he was taller than me, I had no reason. Just fight for myself. Had to fight for myself. And it's the same thing happening here. After so much of the rockets, him hitting me, coming and flying over the air, flying, just trying to destroy me, destroy Israel, destroy. At some point, you have to say enough is enough. That's the whole point in this. Enough is enough. And then when I hit him, instead of the bus driver, in this case, the United Nations, instead of them saying, look, you kind of asked for this because you kept doing this. You have all these proxy wars going against Israel. You kind of called this onto yourself. Now, what do you want? I'm not going to do anything. But instead of that, the United Nations, they side with Iran. They side with all of these rogue nations trying to destroy Israel. That's the difference in the world that we live in. Because we're not dealing with a lot of common sense. Let me share a video with you from a radical leftist. And this radical leftist, and I think this is the one, she's on the Young Turks. I seen her on there. And her name is Anna. And I want y'all to listen to the way she's complaining about Israel. And she sounds just like these fake MAGA people. And then, of course, you have Abby saying, oh, she's doing the MAGA talking points. It's not MAGA talking points. MAGA, we are truly Christian. We believe in God's word.
I think so.
Yeah, look,
I think so. I really think so.
I got to jump in on this because, look, I think this is a problem regardless of what administration is in charge. We should not engage in this war. Look, there's a lot of saber rattling. There's a lot of fear mongering about Iran building nuclear weapons, even though the intel is obviously contradicting. You have Israel saying weeks ago, they shared their intel with the United States and the administration rejected it. Our intelligence community rejected it. They said Iran is not weeks away from building a nuclear weapon. But you want to know something? There are two countries in this whole scenario that do have nuclear weapons. One, of course, is the United States of America. Mm-hmm. The other, they don't acknowledge it, is Israel. So they act like, oh, we're just little lambs. Yeah. And it's such a big threat. Okay. The whole thing about nuclear weapons, the reason why the United States can't allow Ukraine to do whatever it wants against Russia is because they're a nuclear power. Mm-hmm. It is a deterrent.
Well, Ukraine had nukes, remember.
Israel doesn't want Iran to have a deterrent. Now,
Really? Did you hear what she said? Israel doesn't want Iran to have a deterrent. That's not the reason why Iran wants nukes. They've already been clear. Is anybody watching right now think that Iran wants nukes for a deterrent? Is there anybody? Let me see a show of hands. Let me see a show of hands. I don't see any hands. No one believes that. Everybody knows that they've constantly talked about destroying Israel. They're the reason why all of these proxies. Obama, and then it picked back up with Biden funding Iran so they can have all these proxy wars going. Personally, I think they should pick up Obama and question him. What was your reasoning for sending all of this money on pallets in the dead of night? What was your reasoning for doing that? Biden, what was your reasoning for sending money to Iran? What was your reasoning? And we're not just talking about chump change. We're talking about billions of dollars that they did this with. What's your reasoning? Biden probably come back, well, I only did it because my boss told me to.
In a perfect world, neither of those countries would have nuclear weapons, but one of them does, and the one that does loves to cry about how it's always under threat while it's bombing Iranian embassies in places like Syria, while it's literally allowing its IDF soldiers to shoot at international diplomats as they're visiting Jenin. Like, are we ever going to at least address the belligerence of the current Israeli government?
Also shooting at...
Now, listen to this last part. See, it's always Israel. It's always Israel. Now, listen to this last part. And you remember how I was just explaining a second ago how they leave out the key details? Right? You remember me saying that? They leave out the key details. Watch this. Listen. You can leave it split screen.
Also shooting at people in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. Exactly.
Shooting at people in Gaza when they're trying to get aid. You know what they're leaving out? They're leaving out the fact that Hamas, while people are getting aid, they're taking all of those resources and then they're shooting at Israel from the trucks that have the aid. They leave the key detail out. They're constantly leaving that detail out. Why they do that? Because they manipulate the system. Y'all know what I'm saying is true. It's just a lot of people, they don't want to acknowledge it. And I'm still having a hard time understanding why they don't want to acknowledge it. They know it's true. They know it's true. Here's another one that I want to share with you from them having this conversation on this panel. And I want y'all to listen to Abby, because Abby is trying to say, oh, yeah, she's saying the MAGA talking point. Listen to her. She's saying the MAGA talking point. And she's not. Listen.
We've spent trillions of dollars on these regime change wars on behalf of Israel, by the way.
And lives.
And so many lives were lost.
On behalf of Israel. It was on behalf of us. You don't remember 9/11?
Right. Okay.
I remember it very well.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the U.S. government.
I know every regime change war that we do in the Middle East is because we're under threat here in the United States.
But you can't compare. You're comparing the wrong wars.
Well, when you have
Iraq and Afghanistan are not appropriate comparisons.
Can I finish my point? Let me finish my point. The United States right now is dealing with $37 trillion in debt. We're spending $1 trillion a year to service that debt.
And you know what? When President Trump is working with Doge to remove a lot of the wasteful spending, they get upset. They get upset. They don't have any issues with the wasteful spending there, but now she's trying to say because we're allies with Israel and we're going to remain allies with Israel, that's why we have a debt problem. That's why we have we have a debt problem because of Congress. Congress wasteful spending.
Israel had an economic surplus in 2021. We haven't had an economic surplus since 2001. These bunker buster bombs cost $3.5 million a piece. I'm with MAGA on this. The actual genuine America First crowd.
She's sitting here arguing a MAGA case that, frankly, Donald Trump, a couple months ago when he was in the region, he gave a major speech where he said regime change is not the policy. He said,
you hearing this MAGA speech?
It's been a disaster for the United States and for the world in the Middle East. So Trump was saying almost word for word, I have to say, what Anna just said.
No. Almost word for word. You hear that? Almost word for word. Almost word for word. Well, there's actually a statement from Putin. Putin put out a statement. I want y'all to listen. Well, if you can speak Russian, you'll know, but there's caption. So Shannon, you can make this full screen. There's caption here. And he's actually talking about when President Trump was working with Iran. Remember back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to the exact date. Back in 2018, President Trump ended the deal with Iran because it was a bad deal. It wasn't enough. It wasn't holding them to the fire. It wasn't holding them accountable. And of course, this was a deal that Obama came up with, and it was a sour deal. And President Trump said, nope, this is not good. President Trump wants them to stop being aggressive. Stop trying to destroy Israel. Just stop. Just stop. But there is caption here for this. You probably have to change it to the other full screen, Shannon, so people can see the caption because it might cut it off with the lower third there. But watch this and listen.
Иран выполнял все взятые на себя обязательства по известному соглашению, о котором мы сейчас упомянули. Все. К Ирану невозможно предъявить никаких претензий. Затем Соединенные Штаты в одностороннем порядке решили выйти из этого соглашения, а европейцы продолжили требовать от Ирана, чтобы он выполнял взятые на себя обязательства. Ну это, вы уж меня простите, но это какой-то бред. Не Иран же вышел из этого соглашения. США вышли. Бывший президент Трамп взял и принял решение выйти из соглашения. А европейцы говорят, да, это не очень хорошо, что американцы вышли, но вы, иранцы, все соблюдаете. С какого хрена-то иранцы, извините, так по-русски звучит грубовато немножко.
Did y'all catch that? So he acknowledged, and he's talking about when President Trump ended the deal, but it wasn't a good deal. And then he came up with another deal, and Iran doesn't want to negotiate. And of course, Vladimir Putin's leaving out the key detail that they're trying to create a weapon of mass destruction. He's leaving out that key detail. He's leaving that out. Right? Like, that's not the problem. Don't want to talk about that. Them trying to get a nuke. And just here recently, Vladimir Putin just told President Trump that he agreed that Iran should not be able to have a nuclear weapon. He just agreed with President Trump on it. So I don't know when that video was recorded. I thought it was just really interesting that I played it for you. For those of you that even care what he had to say. If I can change it up just a little bit here, if I can, because we're going to run out of time. Here in the United States of America, let's come back to America, okay? Let's come back to America. Here in the United States of America, we have the Democrat Party right now, and they're creating their cult group right now, trying to attack all of these ICE agents. They're fighting for illegals. So the world is like on the verge of World War III, and these radical leftist lunatic liberals, they're all fighting for non-American citizens, and they're politicians themselves. You have, remember when the politician, and I forget the lady's name, and she went to the ICE facility and she was slamming her body up against ICE agents. She was being violent towards them. If I did that, they would put me in jail. I wouldn't be able to go on these talk shows and talk about it right now because I'll probably be in jail or out on bond. Something. But because she's a politician, this is the same one that Jeffrey Hakeem said that, well, if you arrest her, you're gonna cross the red line. If you charge her with a crime, she should be charged with a crime. And when I saw this happening, I said, if they do not arrest these people and put them in jail, you're going to get more Democrats to follow suit. They're going to obstruct justice. They're going to get in the way of ICE of doing their jobs. Now, the reason why they're fighting so hard for these people that are non-American citizens is for the Electoral College. See, for the Electoral College in every state, and I don't know why it's like this, but for the Electoral College, they don't count American citizens, they count bodies. And to my understanding, when it comes to the Democrat Party, some of these bodies don't even have to be warm. They're just counting bodies. Listen to this. This lady, she was one of the ladies that was helping the big donors fund Kamala Harris. Bring it, split screen it. She was one of the ladies that was helping Kamala Harris get money, the Democrat Party get money, and then after it all just went down the beep boop, they're all asking, what happened with our money? But listen to what she says, the reason why they want illegals in the country.
Thank you. So we talked about a lot of the funders. One person that we failed to mention is the Biden administration. Biden funded Chirla. And then we have to ask ourselves, why are Democrats so eager to fund these LA riots, to fund these No Kings protests? I still, having been on the inside and having known these people, I suspect, actually, I know that they are trying to do everything they can to pave the way for the 2030 census, to make sure that states like California and New York that would otherwise lose representation can continue to juice up the numbers to ensure that they have as much electoral power as possible. Because after all, guys, the 435 House of Representatives, it is a zero-sum game. The number is not going to increase. It's the same pie. We just divvy it up a different way. So right now, states are basically in a battle to see who can get the most representation. And if it's based on breaking the law, I consider it deeply illegitimate. If you base your representation on illegal aliens, I don't think that's legitimate. So
Do you hear that? And that's what they're doing. They're basing it off of illegal aliens being in the country because this is what they want. You know what? And one of the reasons, other than the Electoral College, the reason why they want these illegal aliens in the country is because they want slave labor. The same Democrat Party wants slave labor. And they go, but Will Johnson, they're getting paid. Who cares if they're getting paid $1.32 a week? They're getting paid, Will Johnson. This is the reason why they don't have any issues with all of their merchandise being built over in China. They don't have any problems with it because they know how the work conditions are in China. They like that model. They love that model. And so the Democrats, they see a problem what President Trump is doing by getting rid of their base for them to be helped in the Electoral College. Listen to Hochul, so we had this guy. Actually, We had this guy. And he goes, Brad Lander, and he goes to a courthouse, and he's basically obstructing justice, and he's fighting with ICE, trying to defend and protect a non-American citizen. And of course, just like I said, you had Alex Padilla. He did the same thing, trying to fight. He was actually trying to fight Kristi Noem, which now Kristi Noem is in the hospital for some kind of reaction to something. If they try to do Trump twice, do you think that they're off the table? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Well, listen to him here. He runs over on this guy, Brad Lander. He runs over to MSDNC, being the victim, crying that he's the victim. The same thing that Alex, the other Democrat, did. Listen to it.
And they're like, we're working all the time.
What do you think that does to the city, just in terms of like the safety? And not just this city, all the other cities, all the other places that are now being targeted with precisely this kind of enforcement?
Yeah, look, Trump is trying to ratchet up conflict. He wants it to happen. That's what today was about. That's what doing this to ICE agents about. That's what sending the National Guard into L.A. is. And it's part of our challenge. We have to show up and do things like I did today. And we have to find ways to do it that are de-escalating, because we can't allow them to use conflict and violence to turn it into a police state.
Well, that's really the question, right? Like, I think there's some line of thinking that says Ras Baraka, mayor of Newark, Congressman McIver, who was not arrested at the time, but then subsequently charged by DHS, Alex Padilla, arrested or handcuffed and put on the floor, you today, that these are Democratic politicians picking these fights, making a stand, causing a ruckus for political purposes, either for their own political interests or to raise the salience of the issue.
It's 100% political. It's 100% political, because if President Trump is able to get rid of all these bodies that they count for the Electoral College, they know that they're going to lose seats. This is war for them.
The other side of this argument would be like, these people are out of control and they're initiating it. Like, when you woke up today, were you trying to get arrested?
I mean, I had hoped what would happen was what happened last week and the week before, that I could walk peacefully out of the building with these families so they could reunite with their kids.
So why did they arrest you? Why did they arrest him? Did they arrest him because he was peacefully being still, because he was just observing the situation? Or did he intervene? Did he fight with ICE? Why did they arrest him? Why did they put him in handcuffs? Why did they do that? Again, with the key detail. It's a little small detail, but they constantly leave it out. Why? I mean, like, what is going on here? They're straight up lying to everybody. But he's the victim. I was just being there peacefully. The Democrats peaceful? Not at all.
And continue to make their application for asylum. That is all I wanted.
So you think, I mean, you can't know. But does it feel to you like they made the decision for this to be?
I mean, when you just read that part from the city about what the agent said a couple of minutes before about talking about arresting me, I had not heard that before you just reported it. I didn't hear that at the time. But what I can see is that Trump is trying to escalate conflict. He wants to bait and provoke, and we have to find a way. I mean, look, this is what the nonviolent tradition is. You find a way to bear witness, to accompany people, and to do it in ways that don't escalate violence or conflict. That is our challenge.
Really? Why is he there? He's there because he's fighting for non-American citizens. He's not there fighting for Americans. He's fighting for people that came into the country illegally, that have broken the law. They're fighting for lawlessness. I mean, come on, people. I can't be the only one seeing this. I know I'm not. It's just highly frustrating that these people become victims all of a sudden when they're fighting for criminals. It becomes really frustrating just looking at it. And of course, they're trying to spin this like, well, I'm just here. I'm compassionate to these people that's seeking asylum. I'm just really compassionate to them. I'm just wanting to be there to help them because no one is there to help them. He's not even helping Americans that need assistance right now. And he's more concerned about these bodies. I'm telling you, they just want the people here for the body count. And as I mentioned, they don't care. The body doesn't even have to be warm. They just want the bodies here.
How did you get out? Like, you're there for 3.5 hours, and then who comes in to be like...
In this case, I will say Governor Hochul. They came in and said, okay.
Oh, the governor came
to be released. The governor is here. And she showed up, and they, then let me out of the detention room, gave me back my phone and my tie, which I didn't wear here. And then the governor was there, and we walked out of the building together.
Do you think you would have, absent the government's intervention?
How would I know? I have no idea.
Is this the last time that you will be in that court, or are you going to go back?
I will absolutely go back.
Now, he's going to absolutely go back and listen what he's telling for others to do.
I urge other people to do it as well. The organization I did it with is called Immigrant Arc. They're here in New York City. I'm guessing there's places like it around the country. They train you. They, explain what's going on. You can provide a little information, kind of know your rights cards to people, because they don't have lawyers or anybody advising them. And then, both bearing witness in the courtrooms.
So they're teaching people how to be activists and how to go in and disrupt ICE. Should that organization not be under investigation? I think that they should be. Well, here he is standing outside with Governor Hochul. Now listen to what she says about the illegal immigrants after she came and rescued him from ICE. Should she be charged too?
That are walking out of this courthouse, taken away from their families. They don't have the attention. They don't have the lawyers. And that's why the state of New York is providing $50 million to cover legal services for people who are finding themselves in this situation.
50 million of your tax dollars. 50 million of your dollars going to people that are breaking the law, not to American citizens. Not to American citizens. Come on. Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? It can't be. This must be Gotham City. Where's Batman, dadgummit? Where's Batman? Where's Arrow? You have failed this city. Come on. Y'all see what's happening here? She ran to the courthouse. She ran to the courthouse to bail out another Democrat, to try to help the Democrat, because the Democrat got arrested for obstructing justice of ICE. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, stop waiting. Start arresting these people. Set one of them as an example, because they're actually breaking the law. They're actually breaking the law. What happens if Will Johnson did it? See, this is the frustrating thing about this. Because if Will Johnson did it, I saw a police officer doing his job, arresting somebody, detaining somebody, and I just intervened and pushed the police officer so the person can get away or attempt to get away. What happens to Will Johnson? Why do these people get treated as if they are above the law? How many times did they scream and say that they were not above the law? How many times did they do that? They were screaming it every single day. No one is above the law. But yet, they keep doing it. Man, wow. Time went by fast. Hey, if you would, please, let me get y'all to go to my website, UnitedAmericaFirst.com. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's already gone on my website. Sign up for the free newsletter. I did say free newsletter. Sign up for my free newsletter at UnitedAmericaFirst.com. And if you're there and you like any of the information, you like what's happening, because you know what's happening in our world is biblical. More things are going to be coming. More things are going to be happening. Please sign up for the free newsletter so you can see what's happening. Also, UnitedAmericaFirst.com/donate. You can support me there. I greatly appreciate all of you helping me. I am straight up viewer supported. If you ever look at the people creating podcasts, because I just got my YouTube channel back not too long ago. I've already told the story multiple times, but Facebook has completely demonetized me. They're taking everything away. So I'm asking everybody, if you would go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com/donate. Support me today. I need your support to continue to report the news. You see me out in the field. You want to help me to continue to do the will of our Father. I'm not perfect by any means. I never claim to be perfect. But I need God's people. I need your help. UniteAmericaFirst.com. I know there's somebody out there right now that could just bless me to take it to the next level. I know God's people are out there to do it. I know it. And every blessing from you is from God. That's how I look at it.